Welcome to the Common Briefing Program.
Yep.
The last remnants of what was once such an aspirational project and is now three dudes talking about geek shit that happened. Because that's what we do each month. We look at what we think are the hottest headlines from the geek sphere and spend an hour or so picking out what we think is the best stuff. What's the most important, impactful, interesting, what have you. And I'll tell you what, March of 2023 was kind of slow.
Pretty light.
For the three of us at least. But we're still here to have a conversation. And my name is Colin. I will be the one shepherding that conversation for worse or for worse. I am joined by...
I am Jeff. I'm also here.
Hello, I'm Timel, or Chowder, whichever you prefer.
I'm getting...
That's who we are.
Yes, there are... okay. So I'm getting more messages on the side about food problems, and I'm trying to tell the person I can't talk about food problems right now. But my choices right now
figure out the tomatoes on your own, Rebecca.
Exactly, which is like fine, okay. I didn't get a great tomato, but also right now my biggest concern is my body, every fiber of my human shell at the moment is screaming, take a motherfucking nap. Censor that, because YouTube doesn't like, it wants to demonetize anything that has the word fuck too early in it, and we obviously get a huge amount of income from this particular venture.
I was gonna say, hate to break it to you, bud, but
yeah,
we're a few subs off of monetization problems.
Yeah, no, that's fine. We usually like to kick it off by having myself lead with some stories, but due to the strange hell in which I'm trapped that is my poorly optimized recording situation at the moment, I can't really look at the notes and conversation that we've had, and I'm not kidding. I can't think of a single non-Destiny related thing that happened this past month that wasn't just like more episodes of a show we know about or like installment in a franchise.
Happened in Destiny?
Not even a lot. I talked about the Lightfall drama last time. Okay, I guess I could talk about this. I won't go too far into it because it is, even in the Destiny community, it's pretty polarizing and along some weird lines. Just getting straight into probably the only thing that I really paid attention to over this past month. Destiny's Lightfall released, and it was somewhat controversial in that the game is very fun to play, and the primary story that you had to play through was bad and not good and terrible, and failed to set up any sort of mystery while proclaiming that there was a great sense of mystery. It was just ill-defined MacGuffins all the way down. And, like, you could have a MacGuffin, and you could have an ill-defined MacGuffin. But when you have a story centered around everybody understanding the MacGuffin and criticizing you for not doing enough about it, you just kind of feel angry and confused the whole time. So everyone was coming off of the campaign and diving into the rest of the game, anticipating the raid to come out. And the raid is a big 6-person activity that is like, hey, hardest stuff, best of the best, the craziest missions, and you've got a big like day one competition to see who can beat it first. And it's just a big to-do in that particular community. The longest one that I remember happening before someone could beat it was like 21 hours, something insane. But usually like first clear in the world, 8-ish hours, something like that. This one was cleared in 2.5, which is, I was playing the raid when the news broke. Yeah, and I was like, that seems weird. And there was a lot of fuss over whether or not this was too easy, because a game like Destiny, which at its best is weird, at its worst is boring. And I don't mean that all at one time. I mean, like, the times when Destiny is thriving is when it's doing unexpected things, setting up mysteries for people to solve. And at its worst is when it tries to do the Activision thing that it did, which is please everybody all the time. Then the game gets sort of flattened and boring. So this has really ignited a debate after a lackluster campaign. Is the game flattening the difficulty curve and catering what is, like, specifically the elite part of the game, the day one challenge, the thing that happens literally once a year, and trying to crush the difficulty down for everybody else to get into it. And I think that this is one of those interesting points where the conversation about, like, difficulty being an accessibility feature doesn't really square, because this hard mode for the initial contest that comes out is temporary, and then it turns off, and then it's gone, and then everybody can play it on an easy difficulty. So it's not so much a conversation about, like, should Destiny be trying to make its hardest stuff more accessible, but rather a conversation of, is the game becoming less interesting towards its core players and towards its elite players by saying, let's not make it hard. And it was a big conversation that is sort of really... It has more weight because Destiny's like the people at Bungie were like, this is Destiny's Infinity War, and then it sucked, and then it wasn't hard, and everyone's like, what? And that's to say, the game itself is having its highest player population ever right now. The game, everything about, like, the daily systems and the weekly stuff is good. It's very good and very fun. It's just these two main points that just feel like a big step in the wrong direction. So it was... The raid was the thing everybody was looking to redeem the reputation of this expansion. And while it is extremely fun and artistically gorgeous, the aesthetic, Chatter, you would love it. Basically, it's a giant black space pyramid that got blown up by a giant set of rainbow plants. And the entire raid is like the rainbow plants pushing their way through the pyramid and ripping it apart. The first and last rooms are the same room, but in the last one, it's overgrown with plants. It's just thematically great. It's beautiful. The story in it, the lore in it is great.
That does sound right, actually.
It looks
that does sound right,
it looks fantastic. But like, I'm not kidding. I am more scared of rolling into things that are called the easy difficulty in the game than I am running into this raid. It is easy. I cleared it in contest mode, and we did not have an optimized fire team. And I'm like, I'm thrilled that we did it, but I also recognize, like, we've tried this before and failed because, like, we didn't have the stuff. We didn't have the goods, the best gear.
Right.
So I didn't. It's not that I don't feel like I didn't earn it, but I would like to know that in the future the game is going to build towards challenge. And I guess the only reason I find this interesting beyond the scope of the Destiny sandbox is because it does lead us into game dev conspiracy, which I have a feeling is something that could tickle both of your brains in a little way, which was originally the finale of this whole Destiny story was going to be 3 expansions. But then they got hobbited, and then it became 4 expansions.
Whoops.
So the raids are the big 6-person activities. There are 3-person activities called dungeons, which are like mini raids. But at the end of the day, I play them. I challenge myself to play them all by myself without help, and like that's a specific kind of challenge in the game. If you are bored enough, I guess. And there is conspiracy that I find fairly believable, that when this extra expansion was added, they had to take things in the concept phase for one of these dungeons, these mechanically simpler things, and expand it, because there are 4 main fights in this raid, and one of them is stellar. One of them is incredible and complicated and requires everybody, and the other 3 kind of feel like a dungeon. And the one that's like really stands out has its own different visual themes. You don't really have the plants. It seems like it's playing to a different part of the story. So it's got everyone thinking, did they just spruce up a dungeon, slap a raid fight in the middle of it, and call it a raid? And that conspiracy has taken root and is sort of permeating this entire expansion. Did this story suck because they had a new like magic ability they had to give you. They wasted that story on the previous expansion, and then they just kind of had to figure something out. So
the expansions cost money.
Yeah. Yes. $40 for the base, $100 for like the whole year of stuff. So
Gotcha.
the feeling of saying I just spent $100 on filler is a bad.
That's rough.
It's a bad vibe. And I'm not here to criticize Bungie for their decisions. To be honest, I'm interested in the discourse less than I am interested in criticism. But it is tantalizing to me to see how this is affecting everybody. And as a player, I love the raid. I love everything about Lightfall except that story. But it's just, it has shaken the faith of a player base that is like in the millions and bigger than ever. But that is like the only, that has preoccupied the first couple weeks of the month for me. And since then, I'll be honest, not much else has grabbed me. It's just been, Last of Us finished. Picard is happening. Succession's back. It feels like the slow churn, Like,
and
it
wasn't a ton this month.
And even the Destiny raid came out March 10th. So since then, all my Destiny experience has just been the slow churn since then. And I wish I had more, but I have a feeling that over this next month when we've all seen the D&D movie, Mario's come out, we get the new Star Wars game. Like, I don't know, that this nuanced discourse within the Destiny community is very interesting to me. And the fact that it pushes into conspiracy territory makes it fun. But beyond that, that's my month, guys. That's it.
All right. Well, I don't have a tremendous amount this month either. You mentioned the D&D movie. That was actually one of the things I was going to mention because we saw it last night. And it was pretty good. Yeah. We enjoyed it.
Yeah. No, it was fun. Like, genuinely, like, funny, some very good action choreography and scenes. It's just very solid stuff.
I did see one trailer that was Chris Pine. They used the spell where you can ask the guy 5 questions. I forget what the spell is called.
That was a very good scene.
And I saw that interaction in the trailer, and I was like, oh, this movie is literally just capturing what it's like to be at a table and have a party that can't do anything right. That's actually kind of fantastic.
Yeah.
That trailer sold me on the movie more than anything. It does capture
that vibe.
Yeah, that's good. That's great. I would like to see it. I might try to do that this week, but we'll see.
Yeah, no, it was fun. It definitely felt like a lot of the things happened. Like, it wasn't like super on the nose or explicit in this regard, but it definitely had the energy of like, oh, certain moments kind of felt like, oh, that was a crit fail or that was a crit success, or you know what I mean? Or like they didn't take the sort of like minute to minute actions of the particular classes like super literally or anything, but it definitely had like the vibe. Like Chris Pine's character didn't really do any like magic bard stuff. He was just kind of generally inspirational to the rest of them. I was about to say, that kind of thing.
That's what I got from the trailers. It's just like, this is bardic inspiration, the role.
Right, but it's, but
exactly.
Not taking it as like an actual mechanical magic.
Like, it's not a very referential movie. It doesn't like go, oh, look, it's the thing from the thing that you recognize. No, it's like it'll like sprinkle it here and there, but it won't call attention to it, like sometimes they'll cast a spell and you'll be like, I'm like, I recognize
I know what that spell was. Yeah.
Because I remember early trailers coming out and the druid turning into an owl bear with wild shape and people being like, that's not part of wild shape, and I'm like, I could not care less. Wild shape limits you. I think at the highest you can get up to challenge level 2.
And also, I think it limits you to turning into beasts, right? And owlbears are abominations. Is that right? Or they're not. There's something like that.
No, I thought it was. Yeah, it might be something quibbly like that. But the quibbliness of it that we are getting into is exactly what I was like. God, I hope the movie doesn't do that.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, no, there like I was noticing some stuff with the wild shape things just because I've played a druid, so it was just like, oh, there's a scene when she's like changing from animal to animal. I'm like, you can't do that. You only have like 2 to 3 charges of that per day, and
then you
changing
gotta
from
take it.
animal. I'm
That's
also
why.
like, who
That's why
cares?
I'm so tired right now. Is I've been shapeshifting all day and I haven't had a short rest.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, no, I enjoyed it. It wasn't like groundbreaking by any means, but it was just a solid movie. I didn't have any huge issues with it, and it I felt captured the spirit of it. Also, Hugh Grant was really fun.
That's good.
So yeah, that was
Really
one
was
thing,
funny as
which I
hell in
guess
that.
yeah, he was very good. That was one thing, which I guess technically was from April, since we saw it yesterday, and we're recording this
It released
on the
released
4th.
last
But
day of March.
yeah, there you go. What's another thing? Oh, we saw this trailer in the theater, but I also saw this trailer beforehand. There is a trailer for a new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, an animated one.
I was about to
that's
say
being
they did not make enough money on the live action ones to dip back into that particular well.
Yeah, not yet anyway.
Yeah.
It's being
And they screwed over.
I know it's
Rise of the
produced
Teenage
by
Mutant
Seth
Ninja Turtles,
Rogen.
which is
Produced by Seth Rogen. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if it's directed by Seth Rogen too. I can't remember. Seth Rogen is involved.
yeah.
But the animated style looks really nice. They're going for a more like sort of like adolescent vibe of the Teenage Turtles. Like they sound like kids more so than what we typically see.
So
Which you
mean teenagers typically don't have war-hardened, gravelly voices?
Right, exactly.
I
like
guess
they sound. I could see criticisms saying that they sound a little bit too young because they definitely sound like maybe they're like 10, which is not teenage, but it is, I think, a bit more accurate to we lost Colin.
No, oh, what?
Or did we?
No, I still have you.
I can hear you. You've got the
okay.
blue squares rotating.
Oh, fantastic.
Which is fine on your side, I imagine.
Yeah, it's fine on my side. Well, importantly,
go ahead.
They are called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and not post-pubescent Mutant Ninja Turtles.
True. Yeah, they could be 13, I suppose.
Yeah, I know. Very often, like
Raphael's a late bloomer.
Are more like very often like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are more like young adults than they are really teenagers. So.
Yeah,
I don't know.
This definitely felt like, these are like, high school kids fucking around, which I think is a fun vibe. And, it's like, even if it's not, the typical thing, it's like, okay, we can have a change to the formula a little bit. That's fine. But I love the art style. Fucking Bebop and Rocksteady are going to be in it, and I'm pretty sure one of them is played by Seth Rogen.
Seth Rogen plays Bebop.
I think Seth Rogen plays Bebop, and someone else notable plays, was it like, I want to say it was like one of the wrestle people, like John Cena or someone plays Rocksteady.
Let me look.
But maybe it was someone else.
I don't see. I see. Ooh, you got Jackie Chan as Splinter. You got
that's good.
Rocksteady is John Cena. Io Dabiri from The Bear is April. That's kind of cool. Post Malone is in this.
Yeah, that's fun. Yeah, Post Malone is in it.
Giancarlo. And this is called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, and it is coming out this August. That is fun. Is it going to be theatrical?
Pretty soon. Yep.
Cool. Is it 2D?
I mean, at least I assume so. I assume it's going to be released in 2D. I don't know if it's also going to be released in 3D.
I meant the animation style. No, this is 3D. Okay.
No,
CG.
it's not 2D. It's like the kind of Mitchell's versus the Machines or Spider-Verse style of like 3D with 2D stuff laid over it.
Yeah.
Which is a style that I absolutely adore. So.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to that.
A style that when one singular movie came out, shifted every single animated film not already deep into production. Which I think is, I think it's healthy, but it was a startling overnight shift.
It's like one of those things where it feels like... Sorry, go ahead.
It feels like it should have happened sooner because, like, here's the thing, right? Disney, like, once released this short called Paperman or The Paperman.
Yes.
And it's like...
I remember that, and that was great.
Yeah, it basically used that technology, right? That we would later associate with Into the Spider-Verse, but, like, like they made that short, and then they didn't do anything with it. They didn't do any like they pioneered this tech and created this amazing art style, and then they didn't do anything. And it's like, and we had to wait years until Spider-Verse was like, okay, let's do some wild shit.
I mean, and crucially,
and now,
Disney runs, not just Disney Animation, but they also own Pixar. And like toward the end of the aughts, Pixar movies started to look a little bit more like the typical Disney animated movies. And it was Sony that came in, not DreamWorks, not Disney. It was Sony that came in and was like, we're gonna try something new. I know that obviously on the artistic development side of points, on the technological side of things, there's a lot that goes into it. But like from the financial and like political side of this, it's risky to make movies. It's very risky to make animated movies that are not for young children, specifically and almost exclusively. So how do we justify an art style that adds risk to that? And maybe it was just because Spider-Man is like Spider-Man and probably has some an extra inbuilt cushion of people will go see anything Spider-Man, perhaps. But also, I mean,
yeah. But here's the thing: they also made it about Miles, and like that could have been a turn off for a bunch of people. Yeah. Like I remember, like when I used to work at McDonald's, like overhearing like this lady, he's saying, I can't believe they made Spider-Man urban, and I'm just thinking to myself, Spider-Man's always lived in New York. He's always been urban.
He's always been urban. You mean black?
Yeah.
You mean black?
Yeah.
You goddamn Karen.
Oh my God.
Pretty sure she also
really
was
funny.
bitching about people talking in Spanish, but I might just.
Oh well, then she'll hate the not black parts
another.
of Miles Morales too. Good grief. But no, that is cool. That I'm looking at the pictures.
So yeah, I'm hopeful for that because it looks really fun. Because that was like when Spider-Verse did that, and then other movies started using that art style. It was like the first time that I felt like there was actually like a good reason to do CG over, like traditional. You know what I mean? Because like obviously there's like it's cheaper a lot of the time, and it's kind of easier to do it, but it didn't feel like it lost some of the like stylistic elements of animation when like everything was
just get
just
the most
CG.
Realistic renderer that you can. Put this exact kind of facial expression on them, and then beyond that, it's just you know all sort of
also recycled the Rapunzel model again.
Because,
like,
I remember behind the scenes from when I was a kid watching VeggieTales. Because I was fascinated with I've always been fascinated with like how to make stuff. And they were talking about like, we always have new stories where we come out with new character models, and then we reuse those characters in future things. But there was one time we made a character model that was so hard to rig, and her hair sucked so bad, we just never. That's why you don't see her again. She's too much of a pain in the ass to animate. So we just stopped it. And I'm like,
that's really funny.
I get that. So I can't fault them for reusing a model if it's the investment it takes to make something new is bigger than you might think. And in this case, that was I don't even know what vegetable she was, but it was too much.
So yeah, that was another thing. Then the only other thing I had to talk about this month, which is I just find it funny for a joke that I can make about it, but they announced that I suppose Disney announced that they're making a new really kid focused animated Star Wars show called Star Wars Young Jedi Adventures, and it follows a bunch of like little kid Jedis being trained by Yoda.
Like it's one of those kindergarten shows,
Yeah, right. It's like a kindergarten show, but like as soon as I saw that, I was like, that's funny as shit because all of them are gonna die at the end in the canon. So like,
I mean, the Jedi
doesn't matter if it takes place in the prequels or the sequels. They're dying.
Well, Yoda's in it training them, so it's got to be prequel.
Well, Yoda's 900, right? He's 900 something. Jedi Order's been around for 1,000 years. How long has Coruscant been around? This could be like.
I see. So you're saying this could be pre.
This could be so long ago that yes, they
could have
will
all
die
died of natural causes.
Of natural causes.
That's true. I
haven't played all of Knights of the Old Republic, but I know that has a similar conceit in terms of it's like where it takes place in the timeline. So
sure, yeah,
maybe, because otherwise, if they are trying to set up preschoolers to face mortality in the most brutal fucking way possible, I mean, maybe the most respectable thing Disney's done in some time.
Master Skywalker, there are too many of them.
There are too many of you.
There's going to be edits of that. There's going to be like once the show starts coming out, there's going to be edits where people put the characters of the show into that scene.
Yeah.
But I mean, surely this is non-canon anyway, so it's all moot. And there's not really a whole lot else I have to say about it. It's just, it's a kindergarten Star Wars show. That's fine. But I just thought that was really funny because that was the first thing I thought about when I saw the picture of it. I was like, all right. So
yeah.
But yeah, that's really all I had this month. It was a pretty light month for me as well. So I'll kick it on over to Chowda.
I actually did think of two things very quickly that were
okay.
Well, they're Star Trek. Man.
You're really selling it.
Destiny and Star Trek. That's how you know that nothing happened that I care about if I talk about Destiny and Star Trek, because whatever. But no, this is fairly notable. So back in 2017, Star Trek's third era officially began with the launch of Star Trek Discovery, a show that has had its ups and downs, that has been polarizing, sometimes for good reasons, sometimes like the McDonald's Karen that didn't like Miles Morales for fucked up reasons. So it's been a bit of a roller coaster as a Discovery fan, because I think there's some really high points and some really low I don't care points. And on the whole, I feel positively about the show. I appreciate what it did for Star Trek. I appreciate watching it. I like the stories it tries to tell, even if it doesn't always tell them in a way that I find totally compelling. I still consider myself like a fan of the show. And I've been waiting eagerly for its fifth season because, Jeff, a criticism you've lobbied at Discovery that I agree with is it is a show that is frequently trying to up the stakes to galactic levels. And it gets irritating when it's just that level every time. And the pitch for season 5 was it's essentially a treasure hunt. And I'm like, I can get behind this. I can get behind something that has import, but is just basically just like an arms race sort of deal, or whatever, And we've known about this for a while. It's been in production for a while, and we just got the notification earlier this month. It is going to be the final season of Discovery, and not in a we wrote the end of the series, but in a now Paramount's cutting shows too. And Star Trek for a long time has been their golden goose. So if they're going to kill Star Trek, what the fuck is going on? We still don't know a lot about what's going on with Discovery in particular. I do think it is they want to sort of end that, move on to other things. But the question became Strange New Worlds, Lower Decks, Prodigy, all fantastic. Picard already ending. 3 seasons. They already shot it. It's done. It's airing, whatever. So we're like, look at what HBO Max is doing. Look at what these other networks are suddenly doing. Are they just going to start disappearing shit? The other side of this is that there is this little show called Yellowstone, which is the biggest show in the country right now. And hilariously, even though it airs on CBS, it is the most watched television show in the United States. It's big. It's Kevin Costner runs a farm, and it's good. I watched a season of it. It's good. The funniest thing about it to me is that it is their biggest show, and they don't have the streaming rights to it. They sold the streaming rights to it before they made Paramount Plus. So so they've been making a bunch of Paramount Plus spinoffs, and they've been successful. They had
who does have the streaming rights to it?
Is it Amazon? I don't fucking know. Yeah, no, it doesn't matter. But basically, like, Star Trek isn't the only thing printing money for them now.
Sure.
So it was just a kind of couple weeks of like, what's the vibe? What's going on? The second half of this news that I got is Strange New Worlds got renewed. Yay. Lower Decks got renewed. Yay. Prodigy got renewed. Yay. A new Star Trek show that has been rumored for quite some time, called Starfleet Academy, has been confirmed, which is going to follow cadets going into Starfleet. There are 2 interesting things about the show to me right now, because I'll tell you what, by and large, I don't think I could take a serious show set in a school like this. I think you'd have to lean comedy. So they've made two decisions that are really giving me hope for this being a good program. One, this is rumored to be set in the trail of Star Trek Discovery, which jumped to the future. And in this most recent season, one of the most lovable characters, Sylvia Tilly, who is very quirky, very ADHD, went to go help them jumpstart the academy in this new future. So we might be getting a Sylvia Tilly run school. And if that is like the person setting the energy for the school, ADHD TikTok personified, I think that that's a very fun energy to begin with. But then Tawny Newsome, who voices Beckett Mariner on Lower Decks, but is also known for, she was on Space Force, and in my opinion, one of two things that made Space Force worth watching. She is an improviser, she is a comedian, and she is one of the writers on this show. So I have a feeling we're going to be getting an academic sitcom in the Star Trek universe. And to be honest, I'll watch that. I mean, I watched it anyway because I'm a cuck, but like, I watch it. It looks fun. But yeah, that's it. It was the streaming stuff, all the streaming drama that HBO Max sort of like allowed everyone to reckon with, hit Paramount. They're prioritizing Yellowstone stuff and getting some shakeups. There's also, I'll talk about it next month when Picard is over. But yeah, that was the only other thing that hit for me. Chatter.
Cool.
All right.
How long is our delay? Hold on. Wait. Chatter, I'm going to clap my hands, and I want to tell you, I want you to make a sound as soon, I want you to go like, ah, or something like, as soon as you hear me clap. Okay, ready?
Wait, no, I didn't hear the clap. I saw you clap. I didn't hear the clap.
If you saw the clap, then that's fine. Okay, that's, yeah.
Yeah, your clap got edited out by Discord.
Oh, no. Okay. Okay, that's fine. All right, there's a sizable delay. I'm so sorry. Chowder, please continue. I know that you definitely have a couple more things than I did.
All right. First thing I want to talk about is the one I'm most excited about. Like on March 30th, Edgar Wright announced that they are making a Scott Pilgrim anime, and like they're bringing back all the actors who played like the characters in the Scott Pilgrim versus the World movie.
This is gonna bring back the fucking "is it an anime or isn't it" argument that Avatar had, isn't it?
Probably. In this case, it's being the studio that's animating it is the studio that made Keep Your Hands Off Eizouken, which is an incredibly gorgeous anime and a really funny anime. So
Gotcha.
There's that. It's gonna be on Science Saru. That's the studio's name. It's gonna be on Netflix. Brian Lee O'Malley's involved with it. We don't know much beyond that, but like the Scott Pilgrim vs. World, the movie, perfect casting. Like everyone is like perfect as their characters. So like that is something I'm looking forward to. And like interestingly, with the movie was being made while the books were still ongoing, so they had to like make very big deviations from the books, you know.
I'm sorry,
like,
is this Scott Pilgrim Brotherhood? Is that what you're saying?
This might just be Scott Pilgrim Brotherhood.
Oh my god!
Like you know, they did get to like, unlike Full Metal Alchemist, they did get to like, you know, look at like Brian Lee O'Malley's notes and like sort of like work something out with that. But you know, it is going to be interesting to see if like they do indeed pull a Scott Pilgrim Brotherhood, and like, because like, you know, midway through the two go in very different directions, and I like that. It makes for something interesting, but like it also means you have like stories telling very different things, you know, like, you know how in the at the end of like Scott Pilgrim versus the World, Scott like gains the power of self-respect. Yeah. In the books, that is what he gets, is actually the power of understanding, because Scott's flaw in the book is that he continuously like ignores his own negative effects on the people around him, and like
Right, yeah.
he has to become more
It's not
empathetic
just that
while-
he needs more self-esteem, it's that he needs to fuck right off.
Which, I mean, to be fair,
Yes.
even though you can read into that as how self-respect versus understanding mean different things in this context, he did explicitly
Sure,
learn
yeah.
in the film at the very least, like, hey, I was an asshole to you, and I'm sorry. That what like the whole nice guy conversation
Oh, yeah.
was at least part of the film, though perhaps truncated.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Another interesting note differences between the books and the movie is that while the books, I think, have a more cohesive story and a more like engaging theme, like it is more like you think about, like the book has more to think about and like consider, but the movie is definitely like has better action and like much funnier. Like I think the perfect example is like the vegan police joke, right? Like in the book, it's not that, it's kind of a dud of a joke where in the middle of the fight, Scott is like, oh man, I really hope there's a Deus Ex Machina that'll get me out of this, and then the vegan police come, and it's like, eh. In the movie, it's like,
It's much closer
Scott,
to
like,
Brandon Ruth's character. Like the vegan police feels like really attached to like the very little that you know about him in a way that pays off like a little mini arc.
Yeah.
That I think is
Yeah.
successful.
yeah, no, like Scott pulls some like Bugs Bunny bullshit, and then like the vegan police just like barge through the fucking wall, Kool-Aid Man style.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
"Freeze, vegan police," and it's
I
a much better timed joke, and I'm like thinking, man, if we have like a adaptation that is like has the books like much deeper themes and much more intellectual
take Edgar
stimulation
Wright's incredible ability
with
to build and time complicated sequences, or take simple sequences and emphasize the most important parts of them. Take his really excellent filmmaking sensibility and apply it to a richer version of the story. And that's what we're probably
yeah.
going to get.
Also, I'm
Yeah.
kind of excited to see
So,
what the
you know,
animation
this has
style
me
is going to be like.
Probably anime.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Well, yes, but
Well, I kind of imagine it like if you look at like the first volume of Scott Pilgrim and like compare it to like the last volume, the art style changes like night and day. Like the last volume is much more better drawn, and it's like I don't know, like seeing the entirety of the series in that, like I imagine like the entirety of the series would resemble more that end art style versus the earlier more amateur stuff. So
But yeah,
Yeah,
that's,
there's that too.
I'm definitely interested. I still haven't seen Last Night in Soho, but I generally consider myself a pretty big fan of Edgar Wright's filmmaking style. If they had left him in charge of Ant-Man, what would have happened to Quantumania? God, that movie sucked.
I mean, honestly, like Marvel movies just kind of losing their energy, you know, like aside from like Black Panther and Spider-Man, I don't really have much interest in Marvel movies anymore.
Yeah, I like Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi was very good. I liked Eternals.
Shang-Chi was good, but like it wasn't like yeah, I guess.
Shang-Chi was like, it was all right, not without issues, just kind of average.
No, but yeah. Anyway, but sorry,
Anyway, we don't need to talk
I
about
just can't say
Marvel.
it enough. I just can't say it enough, guys. Quantumania was so unenjoyable. It was just so bad. I did see John Wick 4. I guess this actually has a pretty big geek following, but John Wick 4, so fucking good, so much fun, so crazy. Have either of you guys seen any of the John Wick movies?
I'm not a John Wick boy.
Chatter, you would love them. Chatter, you in particular.
Yeah, I've seen the John Wick movies. Yeah, no, I love them.
Love him. Have you seen 4 yet?
Love the John Wick movies. I've not seen 4 yet.
Go. You'll like it. There's some wild shit in there. It's really, really good. There's such a treat. Every time I'm watching one, I'm like, I feel kind of brain dead because I'm not getting a lot of like explicit story. But I don't know what it was. But in this one, like the overly dramatic anime pacing that pisses me off a lot of the times got matched with visuals that I could like really get behind. And I was just like, John Wick says so little in this movie, and I could watch him just beat the fuck out of everybody forever because he sells it so well. Anyways, Chatter, you're good. Let me know when you see John Wick 4.
It's the power of Keanu Reeves.
There are several sequences. I don't want to say anything to spoil those sequences because they are wonderful, and I hope you enjoy them.
All right. Let's see. Another thing to talk about. This happened first day of March. March 1, like an artist named Hakei, Hakei, or no, wait, no. Again, yeah, I'm sorry for mispronouncing this. Miqin, Miqin. Again, sorry for the mispronunciation. Announces that, like, their webcomic that they were making they were making and put on Tapas has been canceled. And for those of you that don't know, Tapas is like a website where like people put their webcomics on, and like they get paid for it and stuff. And like he says it's been canceled, and like he doesn't have the rights to the comics, so he can't make any more, and he's not getting a cent off the chapters he has made. So, and like
Yikes.
I bring this up because like for a very long time webcomics were just like this were very much like this very, very underground thing. And in recent years, stuff like webtoons and Tapas and what have you have like cropped up and like have tried to like are making a push to be like the YouTube of webcomics, as it were. Like you have a partnership with them, and you like get money for and like on one hand, I get why you would want to do this, right? Like, unless you like really luck out, money is tight in the webcomic world, but like you are making some huge sacrifices when you like try to partner with these guys. You give up the rights to your work, and
that's what I was about to ask. So he published on this platform, and now doesn't own it anymore.
Correct. And like
Damn.
And like now that it's been canceled, he can't continue it anymore. So
they canceled it on him.
Yeah,
that sucks.
Yeah, they canceled it on him.
Oh, I thought he was saying like I pulled out because of like some restrictive thing, but they literally said no, you can't make this anymore.
Correct.
And
you can't make money off this no more.
That's awful.
It's like the equivalent of what's happening with all the animated shows, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
not much to comment on it other than it sucks, and like, there is kind of a benefit to that sort of punk rock vibe that like early webcomics have, and
yeah,
the YouTubeification of webcomics might not be great in a lot of aspects.
Chowder, did you watch the Zelda Tears of the Kingdom preview? Because I did not.
Yes, I have.
The smile that came on your face when you heard me ask that question is inspiring, and I love that.
They showed off some like cool mechanics, like the two big ones that like get me excited are like Fuse, which is like they're at like with Breath of the Wild, like a lot of people were complaining, "Oh, I hate the weapon durability thing." And like,
Yeah.
here's the thing: the game mechanics are designed around the weapon durability because if the weapons didn't break, you just pick like the strongest thing and never like do things
That
like
is-
improvise.
That kind of sandbox balancing is like, it's a battle that nobody's ever gonna win. It's just you're
Yeah.
either gonna have
Well,
a boring
yeah.
game or an angry game, and you just gotta thread the needle as best as you can.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Nintendo's solution is interesting, if nothing else, because like, instead of like just getting rid of durability altogether, they instead have the fuse mechanic where it's like you can like take your weapon and like fuse it with like whatever item is lying around. Like, like the example they use is like you got a stick, the stick's about to break. To fuse it with a boulder. Now there's a boulder at the end of the stick, and you can swing that around. It is stupid in the best possible way. Or
Yeah, that'll make the stick not break.
you got a shield, and then you fuse it with this like mushroom that like releases spores when it's hit, and like you can basically like have the enemy hit the shield, it burst into a like smoke screen where you can go,
okay, so
like,
it's not specifically like you can use anything as super glue, but rather
no,
can...
no, that's the thing. You can use just about anything. Like if it's
But
like
I thought you were about to say that to improve the durability specifically of a shield, you could rub mushrooms on it, and that I was about to take serious issue with. But I think
no.
Okay,
Like there are a lot of like interesting effects to it. Like like with arrows, you can like fuse it with like bats' eyes so that they become homing arrows. Or it's I don't get the logic on that one, but
because they see where they're going, because bats have famously fantastic eyesight.
well, these are like Zelda bats that they call keys, which are like that's not really important.
Yeah, okay. What if it's a bat ear?
It opens. Who knows?
The arrow can hear me.
Heroes.
It opens like a lot of like possibilities and like for player fuckery, and that's good. That is the joy of.
Yeah, with Breath of the Wild, I made it to the final castle, and I was like, sweet, and I haven't played it since. But I think it's partly because I'm not particularly interested in doing a straight up and down dungeon in that game. I'll probably go back and beat it now that new one's coming out. But like, I remember seeing the trailers for Breath of the Wild when it came out, and I was really poo-poo, and I was like, why do I want kids Skyrim? I played adult Skyrim. I don't need kids Skyrim. Literally the second I started running around that world, I'm like, this feels special. There's something about the movement, about the climbing, about the way I was able to get an apple. I'm like, there's something in the bones of this that I wanted from a game that if Tears of the Kingdom is expanding on it, you suggest, that sounds exciting.
Yeah, like the other mechanic is similar, but, different in a sense. Like it's basically like you can glue things together, right? And what you can do is like make things like vehicles or make flying machines that you can like fly through the overworld on, like helicopters, hot air balloons. You can like MacGyver yourself a fucking car. It's or boat with like fans on it. I'm
upset. I'm upset that I don't have as much free time as I'd like. I'm having trouble getting through a couple side games right now. I want to play the fuck out of what you're describing to me. I'm gonna go watch this video tonight.
Oh yeah, no, like again, a lot of opportunities for
fun.
player fuckery, and it's exciting, and like we don't have like a lot of knowledge on like the story of it, but like I hope the story is like good and like that Zelda doesn't just get damseled in distress right at the beginning of the story. Like
I'm gonna make a prediction. We're still playing as Link, so she's probably not gonna be a huge part of the game.
We're still playing as Link. No, look. She's probably not gonna be playable, but can she be an entity in the story? Can she be like a character who was at the beginning, who we talked to, and like who like does things and has agency in the story.
Well, so
Like,
I mean,
Has a legend.
Well, I guess I get it, but like, on one hand, it is what it is, but on the other hand, I guess if John Wick was called Dead Puppy and it was 4 movies about John Wick, but they were all called like Dead Puppy 2, Dead Puppy Chapter 4, Parabellum or whatever, like, and I'm like, okay, well, I haven't seen the puppy in several movies, and it's just this other random dude with a different name doing a lot of action. That is, I guess that is kind of what Zelda has been doing for 30 years now.
Yeah,
Almost
but
40.
imagine if you like brought. Yeah, oh Jesus Christ. Anyways, I mean, imagine you brought the puppy back to life, and like the puppy was an interesting character that you would like to get to know more about. You know,
A live puppy. Ah! Yep.
Now we're just doing this for
Right.
fun.
I don't know. I guess.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
there are a few other things, but like, you,
Go for it.
you know, there's not really too much to like, say other than they're happening, they exist, or you know, in the case of fucking Disney, 7,000 people are getting laid off.
Yep.
But you know, forget all that. You know, like, you know, Jeff in previous episodes gets to talk about Transformers. Colin always talks about like,
Oh, God.
you know,
Fuck me. God damn it. Are
you
we about
guys-
to go on the goddamn JoJo train?
oh yeah, we're on the JoJo train. Choo choo. So, in the month of March, Chapter 2 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 9, the JoJo Lands has come out, and it is fucking bonkers. All right. So in Chapter 1, right, it ends with like our heroes like being given like a heist mission to go on, and they're told, oh man, and there's this Japanese tourist, and like he's got this diamond. You break into his like mansion and like steal the diamond, and you know, when at the moment everyone heard Japanese tourist, hold on, Part 8 took place in Japan. Is a character from the previous part coming back?
White Lotus style.
Could it be? Could it be Josuke Higashikata? Could it be
Oh, yeah.
Yasuo? Could it be even Joshu? And we're all like thinking, oh man, who could it be? And then in Chapter 2, right at the final page, they reveal it. And it's a fucking long-running character that is like kind of the creator's pet. It's a character named Rohan Kishibe. And like, obviously like a lot of context of what the series is would be required to explain why this is fucking ridiculous. But let me put it like this. He is basically the author's through self-insert. He is a mangaka. He is a comic book writer who like has like superpowers and is like rich and gets to have like all these like fun fucking spin-off shows and like spin-off comics and stuff. And he shouldn't be here because part 7, 8, and 9 take place in a new universe where he shouldn't exist in this universe. So why is he here? Is this
He's
like
a
an alt-universe
multiversal
version?
being, Chowder.
That's what that you joke, but like that is a possible theory everyone is having. But
What it could
like,
just be a version of him that
yeah,
exists
like-
in this universe.
yeah, but here's the thing, right? There are characters like that.
I
in
mean,
this
he's already a
universe, but,
character
like,
from the real world, so.
Fair.
there are characters like that in this universe, but they always have like some kind of difference. They're like, they look a little different. They have a slightly different name, different personality. But here it's just, it's Rohan. It's exactly the same from the original universe. Why does he look the same from the original universe?
That is,
You know?
Got it right the
But-
first time.
that is enticing.
So yeah, that's ridiculous. Also, Chapter 2, like at the beginning of Chapter 2, they have like they have a moment where it's clearly just a scene from Breaking Bad. Like in Breaking Bad, there was this scene where like this guy, like, he's trying to sell drugs, and like someone he's gonna sell drugs to. Yeah. Someone he sells drugs to is like possibly an undercover cop, and he's not sure if he should sell to him. And then the undercover cop is like, you know, if you ask me if I'm a cop, I'm legally, I'd be legally required to.
I remember this fucking guy. He's such a shitbag.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and
That was a good
you know, when
scene.
he asked him if he's a cop, and he says no, and then he gives him the drugs, she just in a moment goes, hands on the ground, and like pulls out his gun and like shoot. Similar scene happens where like the protagonist is like going, hey, you're being sus. And here's the thing, he does use sus, like in reference to
that's not you
Us.
Paraphrasing.
paraphrasing.
You didn't paraphrase that one.
That wasn't a paraphrase. Like the translator even noted that, like, yeah, no, that is the same Japanese they would use to in reference to Among Us, and he was considering
Japan has their own fucking abbreviated suspicious that specifically references Among Us.
I mean, I imagine.
Look, I don't know. Listen, Japanese is weird, is a complicated language.
Fair enough.
And you know, the translator was like, I don't know if I should translate it like that. People will get on my case about that.
The art of interpreting and translating is so fascinating to me.
Oh yeah, and it's especially weird with JoJo because the dialogue gets esoteric as fuck, and so it's a
By
pain for translators
definition,
because it's like
having to state that something is extra esoteric is pretty intense.
Yeah.
Just like camping.
So like the translators are never sure. Did I translate that badly, or is that actually the fucking dialogue? And
they're just like looking. They were like, that can't be right.
The fuck's a mechanism? And so, anyways, and so, you know, he's like, I don't know if I should sell drugs to you. And the lady's like, you know, if you ask me if I'm a cop, I'm legally obligated to tell you. Are you a cop? No. Okay. Here's the drugs. And then she pulls a gun on him, and it's very clear that Araki was like
referencing
watching Breaking Bad during the COVID pandemic. So
all the fucking, like, it's a funny scene, but like specifically that cop in Breaking Bad was such an like a weird, I don't want to say straight up unlikable because they were kind of charming, but like they were an extremely off-putting character. I wonder what makes you watch that scene and say, of all the things in what is considered a masterpiece, this is the thing. I'm just gonna take that in particular. I don't know. I'm just curious. It's a good scene, but like,
I mean, cops aren't very, very positively portrayed in Part 9, you know, like
good.
There's these rapey ass cops that, you know, thankfully get their ass kicked in chapter 1. Then they come back in chapter 2 to get their ass kicked again. So I think this part has something to say about the US police system, maybe.
Yeah.
Who knows?
All right.
I don't know.
And now
we're
this
only
part,
on chapter 2.
And now this part of the conversation has something to say about the rest of the conversation. As we're gonna take it.
Wait, no. Hold on. Wait. I didn't mention it because I thought Chowder was going to mention it, but fucking Genndy Tartakovsky is making a new animated show. That's all. That's just exciting.
Oh yeah, no, I'm excited about that.
He made Samurai Jack
again?
and Dexter's Lab.
Yeah.
Colin.
Unicorn Warrior. Unicorn Warriors.
I was gonna ask, but I didn't want to show my ass if I was wrong. But let's try to go over the stories that we've come up with over the course of the last month and see if we can pick a needle out of this particular haystack, because I guess the needle is the thing that everybody wants and covets and should talk about. But we're going to try to pool pool our minds here. And out of all the things that we just brought to the table, if you take one thing away from this conversation, what are you going to tell your friends at parties? What are you going to tell your friends you're too busy paying attention to go to those parties as an excuse? Because it's not anything I talked about. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, it's that the needle isn't something you covet, but rather you can't have the needle in there because it could harm the cow that you feed the hay to. So you would need to get so that is why you're looking for the needle in the haystack.
Help us save a proverbial cow and figure out the most dangerous story we've just talked about. I'll tell you what, honestly, I think my chips are on Zelda, but I could be persuaded into anything that isn't what I talked about, because no one in the world outside of the Destiny community cares about the root of Nightmare's drama. Not a person.
Yeah, I mean, with Zelda, it's like, I knew it was going to be good. It's probably going to be good. Yeah. So, you know, I'm excited, but like, when it comes to like bombshell news, Scott Pilgrim anime is where it's at for me.
I can definitely be sure.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
You're right.
Yeah, I think what's getting me about Zelda is the fact that this game is coming out soon. It's been 6 years since the last one. We know so little about this game. It is really, really purposeful choice on behalf of Nintendo and their marketing folks to say, what if we just don't? What if we didn't?
it'll be a surprise.
What is it?
And, like, that's the thing. That like 10-minute gameplay showcase that they did was remarkable because we knew so little. Because like we were like, what is it about this game that's gonna be worth the wait? You know,
but I guess I guess we did know it was coming, and it's coming soon, so we'll be able to talk about it in like a few weeks. The Scott Pilgrim thing did kind of feel like it came out of nowhere, and they got like really everybody. And the crazy thing, Scott Pilgrim is one of those movies where you watch it and you're like, how did every single person, every single cast member in this movie do this movie?
Yeah, I was wondering that too.
And then become enormous fucking movie stars. Every single goddamn one of them. They're huge. Kieran Culkin is in the last season of Succession right now. Aubrey Plaza is everywhere. Anna Kendrick is Anna Kendrick. Captain America was one of the nondescript bad guys. Brie Larson, like, going back to watch Scott Pilgrim 10 years later is absurd, because you're like, the budget of this movie must have been astronomical. It's just like, Michael Cera was the biggest name in that movie at the time.
Yeah, I know.
What? And they got all of them back.
Because I was like, and it was just like going through the cast list and like looking at all the names. I was just like,
yeah,
oh,
right?
You still him?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
That's great.
I was astonished.
I think that. I was like, either that or the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles things are the two things that I'd be most excited about. But I think that the Scott Pilgrim thing is the bigger story.
Yeah, I'm Team Scott. So if you wanna take a look at the dearth of geek news that proliferated our particular existences during the Munch of Marth, you can take a look at the teaser. We don't really know anything about it beyond the casting and some of the high-level producers on it. But it's an exciting proposition that, I'll say this, surprised the fuck out of me. And I'm very interested to see where it goes. But I think that's going to do it. My name is Colin Ketchen, and I've been doing my best to host this. Well, 1, not falling asleep, and 2, not leaving to go to the bathroom. As you can see, I have drunk this entire water bottle during the course of our recording because I hate myself. And you can find me elsewhere.
That's the trick, Colin. You just don't leave when you go to the bathroom.
Yeah, that's why my cat was moseying around down here. He's like, what'd you do down here? You did something down here. What did you do down here? And you can find me. I've been working on videos for a gentleman on YouTube by the name of Aztecross, who's a pretty big Destiny YouTuber. And I've done a few of his videos. And I've written a few of his videos. And it's one of those things where it's like, I used to look to this person for advice. And now he's saying words that I wrote. So I don't trust him anymore. No, sir. Anyways, who else is here and what are you up to?
I am Jeff Leavitt. If you want to find me, I've got a couple Instagram accounts. There's my one where I post art stuff occasionally. That is things I wish existed with a dot between each word.
Right, you started posting on that
And-
again, so you're legally allowed to mention it.
Exactly, yeah. Not as often as the other one, but yeah, I try to upload every once in a while. But and toys.n.art, also on Instagram, where I post toy collection related stuff. And to that effect, I also have a YouTube channel where I post toy reviews and stuff like that. That is Alchemist Prime Reviews on YouTube. Getting real close to that 1,000 subscriber threshold. Almost there. But,
Fantastic.
yeah, that's me.
Nice. I'm Timel or Chowder, whichever you prefer. You can find me on Twitter at Timel_Chowder. Although that is I get the feeling that's gonna change in some time, considering as of this video recording, I'm looking at a fucking Doge in the corner of Twitter. Why the fuck is that? I'm gonna jump ship at some point.
Yeah.
Where it'll
Wait,
it'll be
why don't we build our own Twitter?
with blackjack and hookers. Anyways,
The new feature is you have to
on that
pay
Twitter, I
$8
also-
to not have a Doge, and you're in the corner.
Incredible.
Yeah, I mean, while I'm on that Twitter, I do art stuff there as well, and just regular tweeting and retweeting. But the other thing I'm involved in is our sister podcast, Dice Populi, where we are doing where the final arc really is going a lot longer than I had ever anticipated. But it's pretty cool. Check it out.
Yes.
And yeah, that's really about it.
Yeah. No, some big surprises there that I don't know what the fuck's going to happen. And honestly, that's my favorite place to be with that particular project. But that's about it. You can check us out in those various places. And you can check us out again here next month when we try to recap Geek News for April. I'll tell you what, the murder of Sonic the Hedgehog is going to be making the list next month. Let me tell you that. We got some interesting shit to talk about. But
yeah,
look,
that was a
little
strange
cliffhanger.
Wow.
Welcome surprise. Yeah.
we'll see you then. Enjoy your day, everybody. I'm going to go do all the things I said I was trying not to do.